Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today I am doing not only a review of these two items, or really just unboxing of them, but it's really kind of going hand in hand with an updated status on my bug out bag or emergency bag or whatever you want to call it. I did a video on this before. I'm going to put the link in the description for all the items that I had linked in this, including this bag before. But the main reason why I wanted to do this update is because when I initially created this video of this bag and all the items in it, I had mentioned that I was making kind of like an emergency bag, a kind of a prep bag for if you have anything kind of, might happen in terms of emergency, but especially if you have kids. Obviously you could just have it for yourself, design it the way you want in terms of what you put inside of it. I put in it a few medical things, and I'm gonna go over a few of those things in a minute. Not a full review or anything like that, but just a little update of things. And I also had put I have a multi-tool inside here. You're just regular standard pliers multi-tool, similar to, well, this is the QiSa. And this is reviewed on the channel as well. Apparently the weight of that is holding that still. Obviously some pens. I have a battery pack inside there, which is solar power. I have a few things like Ace Bandage. I have 2 arm braces, and I will just quickly show what that looks like just so you guys are not confused on what it is. I also have a tourniquet kit inside there, and this is the arm brace right here. I only have one of them in here now. I had a left and a right one. Now, what I wanted to get into was that a few things I wanted to add to this pack. I had some paper towel in there because I had nothing fabric-like. I wanted to add gauze and surgical tape because those are kind of really the bread and butter of you dressing a wound directly. If you get a scrape or injury, you're not going to put an Ace bandage directly on it. You want something on it. And I put paper towel at the time just as something that you could wet and throw in there. But really, gauze and some surgical tape is really the kind of the base of it before you would then put over an Ace bandage. As such, that's the Ace bandage here. Some of the Ace bandage as such, or even the arm wrap. This is really, it has a metal beam inside it, so it's more of like a support if you injured like maybe a muscle, but you could also use it as just a cast to prevent, like if you have scratches or something really bad from anything touching it. But of course you would then have your gauze on it. So these are from Amazon, Amazon Basics, 50 pads. Link's gonna be in the description below, but that went for about $8 and change. And there's 4 rolls of surgical tape, and it says it includes gauze swabs. I guess we'll see when we open that up. Unfortunately, Amazon delivered this. The box is kind of bashed. I'm gonna make note of that to them. Sometimes they'll give you a discount if that is the case, but this cost about $8. So just want to kind of really brief on a little situation that had happened recently. I was out with my kids, and I have 2 boys, and one of them, we're at a indoor play park, and one of them got injured, and he ended up scratching his hand really bad, the back of his hand really bad. I was happy to have this kit on hand, but I was also disappointed that I didn't have everything I needed on the kit. Now, granted, I did have, like I said, the paper towel, which would have sufficed for at least dressing his wound. But one of the issues was that it wasn't, his age made him a little fearful of, just the whole setup, because his hand was stinging and everything like that. The personnel at the location had alcohol wipes, which I didn't let them put on because I was going to sting even more. So dressing up your wounds for you as an adult is a lot different than dressing up your wounds for a kid, because dressing up your wounds for an adult, you don't mind things that sting. You can put alcohol, peroxide, whatever it is, you're not going to have a problem with. For kids, sometimes they don't want that initial thing. You might be able to take a bottle of water, rinse their arm if it's like a scrape or a scratch type of wound, anything that draws like blood that could be irritated. You can splash some water on it. In that case, you probably will have water around almost anywhere you're at. Obviously, if you don't, that's something you could choose to pack in there, or if you want to put a little pack of peroxide, because hydrogen peroxide often doesn't really sting. Sometimes it can, on rare occasions, depending on the type of wound. But nonetheless, having some gauze is a really nice touch. So it even tells you here on the back here, the steps that you take for cleaning. It says step 1, which indicates, I'm not gonna read through all this, but it seems like basic cleaning the wound, then cover the wound, and then secure the pads on. So here you could see, you get 50 of these. So it's nice. I'll be able to take a few of them, just toss them right inside, and that wouldn't be a problem. It's nice having a decent amount, because then you could just throw it in there. And these works, I did also want to buy Band-Aids, which I probably end up getting from my local Costco. They have an assorted type, but to be honest with you, I feel that this is overall better. Like you can have a couple Band-Aids on hand, but for any major wounds, which is what this bag is really for, major wounds, because anything you could just put a Band-Aid on. I'm not saying that you can't use this, but you know, this will kind of suffice for that as well to some degree. Now, another thing that I do want to put inside here is maybe a small like bit of Vaseline, because I know that's good also for like wounds, I feel. That's one of the things I have to put in here. But like I said, I recently purchased this because after that incident, I really wanted to have these things on hand and I didn't have them. So here, obviously you can see, like I said, the shipping was really bad in terms of the damage on the box. I am going to let that be known to Amazon, because I am not a fan of this looking this way. Now they do give me some Nanacare sterile gauze. So these pretty much are the same things as these for the most part, a little bit smaller, but they give you a few free of these. So that's something to note, that if you guys was to purchase this and you didn't want to buy this, at least not right away, they're giving you 10 of these, which is actually pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm seeing 5. Okay. So now I realize I'm gonna probably have to return this. These were taken out. There's supposed to be 10 of them. They were taken out. And here goes the surgical tape. So this is obviously an unboxing live, because I didn't pre-hand, you know, see how these boxes were set up. But obviously you still get the point. I'm still gonna tell them about maybe returning this or whatever the case is or what happened to it. But nonetheless, you see here what it comes with and what you're looking to get. You're pretty much looking to get this. There's the basis of what you're trying to get inside the set. And like I said, those items are self-explanatory, but I really wanted to just do the deep dive on telling you guys, I really think it's important that you try to get yourselves a little setup. Have yourselves a little setup bag with things in it for emergencies. I think it's really important. I'm gonna leave my paper towel in here, though now I don't have to use it for bandage purposes. But I think it's very important for you guys to carry that on hand. I've experienced it. I always said to myself, I didn't want to have to experience it, but at that moment I did experience. And my son was actually very comforted by me having this. After his the wound was dressed up and padded up, he was actually felt very secure for having this around his arm. And I know it actually created a benefit in that I didn't have to worry about the wound ever being touched, or even, you know, like if you have bandage, and sometimes we have these bandages on, the gauze and the surgical tape, it'll start to come off. This will ensure that it won't come off, as well as, you know, anything that hits against it, it's not gonna get through. It's not gonna really affect the wound. So that was nice. These things were only $20. Like I said, I'm gonna have the link in the description for all the items that I put into this bag, along with the link in the description for these 2 primary things that I am unboxing at the moment. And I just really want to put out there for all you guys who watch the channel, because like I said, this channel here, obviously for things of, you know, like we always say before, just better wellness for yourself and your family and everything like that at the end of the day. And I think this is something that's very important, especially nowadays. I think it's something where, you know, often we don't think about, but I think it's just something to think about, especially if you have young kids. But even if you don't have young kids, it's good, because then you can be that person where if something happens someplace and you're out someplace and something happens to someone, you could be the one to come and say, hey, I have these things, here you go, in case, you know, no one has it on hand. And with that being said, you guys be safe, take care. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.